Good evening. I'd like to call the regular Town Council meeting of December 16th to order. And if you are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A roll call, please.
Councilor Buganski. Councilor Lewis. Present. Councilor Balboni. Present. Councilor Carey.
Present.
Mayor Delnicki.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Siracusa. Councilor King.
Here.
Councilor Fitzgerald.
Here.
Councilor Pendleton.
Here she is. And thank you. I just have a few remarks for tonight. Good evening, everyone. This past Saturday, December 14th, the Wreaths Across America ceremony was held at Veterans Memorial Park, and I was happy to see that it was well attended by our community. The first day of winter begins this Saturday, December 21st at 4:21 a.m. As a reminder, the 14th Annual Gingerbread Festival at Wood Memorial Library and Museum is still ongoing. If you have an opportunity to visit, the festival runs through December 22nd and is open Thursday and Friday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Admission is free and open to the public with donations gratefully accepted. Town offices and the school district will be closed on Wednesday, December 25th in observance of the Christmas holiday. Additionally, December 25th marks the first night of Hanukkah beginning at sundown, and December 26th marks the start of Kwanzaa. And on Wednesday, January 1st, town offices and the school district will be closed in observance of the New Year's holiday. And as a result of those two holidays, trash collection will be delayed by one day. If your trash and recycling collection is on Wednesday, it'll move to Thursday, Thursday to Friday, and Friday to Saturday. And on Saturday, December 28th at Evergreen Walk, there will be a grand menorah lighting at 7 p.m. on the green. There will be an amazing fire show, grand gelt drop, free raffle, hot cider, and warm lattes. So that's it for Mayor's remarks. Moving on to item 5, adoption of the agenda. Councilor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that we adopt the agenda as written.
We have any changes, additions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to item 6, communications and reports from the town manager. Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, good evening. Mike asked me just to let everybody know that on December 19th, the town hall will be closed from 12 to 2 to celebrate the winter luncheon for the town hall and the town hall annex. In addition, we did receive today the official letter confirming Trishana Branford as our Director of Public Health. So I'd like her to just come up and introduce herself to the council.
Oh, you have to hit the button on the bottom of the base of the microphone. There you go.
Okay. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, members of the Town Council. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. My name is Trishana Branford, and I'm honored to be serving as the new Director of Health for the town of South Windsor. I come to this role with over 10 years of experience in public health, having had the privilege of working with both the City of Hartford and the town of Windsor as a sanitarian. In my previous roles, I focused on a range of public health initiatives, from environmental health inspections to promoting disease prevention and education programs. I believe strongly in the power of community engagement and proactive health policies to make a lasting impact. As your new Director of Health, I'm excited to build upon the great work already happening in our town and to continue fostering a safe, healthy environment for all residents. My goal is to ensure that public health remains a priority for our community, and I look forward to working with each of you, as well as with our residents and stakeholders. Thank you.
Trishana, if you can come up here so everybody can just shake your hands and welcome you here.
Congratulations.
Madam Mayor, could I ask that Kevin Sullivan, our library director, come up and give a report?
Sure, Mr.
Thank you.
Sullivan.
Hello. So thank you very much for having me this evening. I'm just going to take a couple minutes of your time to give you an update on a few emerging services that the library is starting to offer. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our makerspace that we're currently building and about our world language collection that we're starting up. So a makerspace is a collaborative work environment, usually has a variety of different machines and tools involved in it. I've always looked at a makerspace within the library as a way that we can better serve the community by cost sharing and giving individuals access to new technologies that they wouldn't be able to normally have access to at home. We've been converting our copy room, which is located on the upper level of the library behind the reference desk, into a space where individuals can collaborate and work together using different equipment in a way that's not going to disrupt anybody that wants to use our facilities in a more traditional manner. So if you're just looking for quiet study space, you're not going to be disrupted by the whirring of a 3D printer or anything like that. We've been collecting technology over the past couple of years. The Friends of the South Windsor Public Library secured 2 grants from the Greater Together Community Fund in order to purchase this equipment. So it's all come from them at this point, and we're just putting it together in a way that is accessible for the community now. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes to go over a few of the machines that we have there, and we'll move on from there. So we have a Prusa MK4 3D printer. This is a filament 3D printer. Allows patrons to print out designs either of their own making or that they've gotten from the internet. Prints out roughly like an 8x8 cube, so not enormous, not small, but it can kind of do anything you can imagine. This is just a small boat that we used to calibrate the printer when it was initially printed. But we've made a lot of different signage and different storage materials already using it. We have a Brother SB1 sublimation printer. So a sublimation printer prints on a special type of paper using a special type of ink that when heated to high temperature, the ink turns into a gas and then can be absorbed by another material to transfer the image onto it in a more permanent way. So if you look and see the sign for it in the background up there, that sign is actually on like a cloth. If you've seen like the Swedish kitchen cloths, the sign was printed and then transferred onto that. So if you got it wet, wiped up with it, it wouldn't bleed or anything like that. It's absorbed directly into the material. It can also print and transfer onto ceramic, metal, polyester, wood, glass, all sorts of stuff. This is a really cool machine. And it's been our most popular one thus far. Going hand in hand with the sublimation printer is a heat press. This takes the prints, heats them up, and transfers them onto the different items. So you can see a couple of tiles up front that we transferred images over onto. So there's a 15 by 15 flat area, great for t-shirts, great for things like tiles, pieces of acrylic, that sort of thing. And we also have some additions to it that allow you to do curved spaces. So you could do like a picture on a coffee mug. We've had people coming in and doing that for Christmas presents, or to transfer on the front of a hat or something like that. We have a Glowforge Aura, which is a laser engraving tool. Cuts out of, engraves and cuts all sorts of different materials, plywood, acrylic, slate, ceramic. You can even do food with it. If you had like a cookie and you wanted to engrave your logo on top of it, you could theoretically do that. It's not really a use case we're doing, but that's something you could do with this. We also have a Cricut Maker 3. A lot of people are probably familiar with the Cricut, but a multimedia cutting machine, uses a blade, can cut a whole series of different materials, but we mostly encourage it for paper and vinyl. And it's easy to work with online. It's just a nice little machine. A few other things that we have a Maku Form Box, which is a vacuum former for making molds, a sewing machine, and then the bottom 4 listed up here are part of our digitization station. So that allows you to digitize 8mm film, so 8mm videos, old photos, slides, different types of slides, and then also to make digital copies of VHS tapes or old home movies. So right now the Makerspace is in its soft launch phase. Our emerging technology librarian, Audrey Breen, has been doing classes every week, introducing the different technology to staff and then letting patrons kind of use it as they're able to. The hope is to open it in a more full capacity in the next couple of months. So it'll be a little more well advertised and just open for more hours and use. So that is upcoming. We are also building a world language collection. So just about the entirety of the materials in the library are geared towards English speakers. And as you know, that doesn't exactly match the demographics of the town. In South Windsor, 26.3% of residents over age 5 speak a language other than English at home. 20% of residents are foreign born. So we've been dropping the ball on serving those patrons at the library, and this is a step in the direction trying to be able to serve them better. So we've committed to a percentage of our collection development to purchasing print and digital resources in Spanish, Hindi, and Urdu. So this is intended to be fiction and nonfiction titles. We're not looking at just language learning tools. And there's a lot of different languages spoken in South Windsor. This absolutely doesn't cover all of them. We made the decision to focus on a handful of languages instead of trying to take a scattershot approach and get a little bit of everything. We decided on these 3 after speaking to the South Windsor Public Schools. They provided us a list of what languages they're encountering in the classroom and with families most often. Those were these 3 languages, so we decided to start off there, but it's just a starting point. We need to listen to what the community wants and what they tell us, and we will adapt to that. So we're open for all sorts of different suggestions there, if anybody has any suggestions. We also newly subscribed to Transparent Languages Online, or Language Online. This is a language learning tool built for listening, speaking, reading, writing skills in a lot of different foreign languages. There's 110 different languages to choose from, and over 30 languages that are for English for speakers of over 30 other languages. You can access Transparent Language with your library card through southwindsorlibrary.org under Tools and, what is this menu? Career and Skill Builders. You can also download an app. It's available on iOS and Android. You put in your library card number, you make an account, and you can get all sorts of reminders, track your progress, everything like that. It's really a nice little site. So that's everything. Didn't want to take up too much of your time this evening, but thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But other than that,
I just have a quick question,
yeah.
if I may. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Councilor Carey?
I just wanted to congratulate you on getting grants and the Library Commission for getting grants for that first group. And I think that's wonderful what you're doing with the equipment and getting it ready for people. So nice job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that.
Councilor Pendleton?
I'd like to ask our Director of IT here if you're involved with any of the maintenance or the purchase of any of these things?
Yeah,
Or guidance?
Yeah, we work closely with the library. We support the library and all their needs from an IT perspective as well. So
Can you
Kevin and
guide,
I talk.
help them with those purchases?
Kevin and I talk all the time. Yes.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Councilor Lewis?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Is there a cost to use these items? I mean, you used to have to pay for make copies, so do you have to go and?
So we're working on it. We have a draft policy in place, and we want to make these accessible to all patrons to be able to use. The per-use cost on these is relatively inexpensive, so we want to make them available without cost on a small, like a low level. So if you wanted to print something out that took an hour or two on 3D printer, it's pennies worth of filament. If you're going to do anything larger, the idea is that you're going to bring in your own materials that way. So the hope is to have a small amount of consumables available, and then anything larger would be the responsibility of the patron on their own.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm always interested in things self-supporting themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you very much.
Great to hear from you. Anything further, Mr. Roberts?
Nothing, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 7, public input for items on the agenda. Public input shall not exceed 30 minutes. When recognized by the mayor, the speaker shall approach the lectern, give their name and address. Speakers shall avoid personal attacks or impugning or alleging an improper motive to any person. The speakers may address the council on any item on the agenda. The speaker shall relimit their time to 5 minutes. Is there anyone who'd like to come forward at this time for any item on the agenda? Okay. It's probably during. Okay, moving on, having no one for item 7, moving on to item 8, adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting. We do not have the minutes, is that correct? Ms. Senator? No minutes, correct? Okay. So, Councilor Pendleton, you're off the hook.
Okay.
Moving on to item 9, communications, liaisons, officers, and boards directly responsible to the council. Anyone have any reports? Councilor Balboni, did you have nothing? Councilor Carey?
Yes. So, Planning and Zoning met last week. They had requests for amendments to the Senior Retirement Development Code. There are a number of things in that code that affect the opportunity for people to build senior residence in town. One of them is we had a limit of 300 or 350 senior residents in town. That limit was lifted at that committee meeting. And also the number of units that could be built when you had over 12 acres was raised to 72. There was a third amendment that the developer had asked for that was turned down.
That's it, thank you. Councilor Fitzgerald?
Yes, hi. Last Tuesday night, the Board of Education met. It was a relatively uneventful meeting. They approved the 25-26 school calendar. They discussed the high school library roof replacement project, and they also passed a couple of policies, one of which was the prohibition for students of sexual discrimination, including sex-based harassment. So to that end, I neglected in our last meeting to bring to an issue to the council's attention. It's a bullying issue at the high school and the middle school. And there are a couple of people here who spoke at the November 26th Board of Education meeting who had asked to, address the council about the issues that they faced. So with the council's indulgence, I'd like to call up Samantha Bukowski and her family and Nicole Frost, if she is here, to speak quickly to the council. Samantha, if you want to go first, just step up to the mic, and if you could say your name and where you live, and then you can read your letter. Thanks.
Samantha Bukowski, 379.
If you can just bring the mic down just to your height, that would be perfect.
All right. Okay. This good? Samantha Bukowski, 379 Corybrook Drive. Good afternoon. My name is Samantha Bukowski. I'm a 9th grader at South Windsor High School. Before I ask my questions, I'd like to share my story and what happened to me first. I first met my predator in middle school, in the middle school of 6th grade. It was a normal friendship at first until 7th grade started. Then he threatened to rape me multiple times and make disgusting and inappropriate comments to and about me. He had taken pictures of me in my classes and even once drew a penis going into my mouth. I had convinced myself that it was normal kid stuff, so I didn't report it to anyone. In March, it got really bad that I had reported it to guidance. When I was in guidance, I had brought up some of the things he had said about me. It got turned into the principal's hands and then turned into the police investigation. The matter was referred to family court. To our understanding, the record would be sealed and removed after 1 year with counseling and empathy training. There were also 11 other victims. With the investigation still continuing, I'd found out that he had also threatened to kill me multiple times. He said he was going to bring a knife to school and kill me and my friends. Another time by hiding in my bushes outside my house and shooting up not only me, but my family as well. After hearing those words, they have and will forever scar me. Over the summer of 8th grade year, me and my friend were granted protective orders against our predator. That was July 18th, 2023. We had thought it would be over, but it wasn't. The years I have faced and the years to come, I will face my predator in school. In 8th grade, he would follow me around, but there was nothing that could be done legally because the judge had taken distance out of the protective order. So I turned to the school. He was given a para due to the Title IX, but it felt that he was just there to be his friend instead of doing his job. They did nothing to help me. Instead, it felt like they were siding with my predator. One day I'd gotten really scared and called my parents to come pick me up. My mom tried to talk to the principal, but she decided to be unprofessional and tell her that my anxiety was making me see things that aren't actually there. My mother was done with the school and turned to the superintendent. My mom was told by her secretary that the superintendent didn't know enough about the case and that she would not accept her call. At this time, my parents felt that the school was not protecting me and that they were victim shaming me. At this point in time, they hired an attorney. I'd missed a month of school because it was not deemed safe for me to return per our attorney. I later went back and the attorney forced his para to do his job. In following the Title IX, it was a little better, but it still felt like he wasn't taking the job seriously. There were still multiple instances. Present day, the protective order expired, and I chose to not renew it because I wanted to leave it in the past. He is still in my school, and I have to go to school every day with my predator. Due to this incident, I tell my parents I love them before I go because sometimes I feel I may not return home. I space out and picture me getting shot and killed by this kid. Before I ask my questions, I'd like to thank Mr. Leon and Miss Yard because I felt they were the only ones in the school system who would help me. I'd like to ask you, I would like you to think about these questions. My first question is, why did my parents have to pay for an attorney for you guys to take this case seriously? My second question is, why should a 13, 14, 15-year-old have to go to school and see my predator every day? My third question is, why is it okay for the child to be in the same building and room as their predator, even though if this exact case happened in the workforce, they would be instantly fired and not allowed on property? Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Samantha.
Hi, my name is Nicole Frost, 118 Steep Road, South Windsor, Connecticut. I've been a resident of South Windsor since 2006, and I'm here on the topic of bullying and drug use in the schools. I currently have one child at South Windsor High School and two more at Eli Terry. I also have family in the schools as well. I and many other parents, students, and former students have and have had many issues within the South Windsor school system, which seems to start at Timothy Edwards Middle School. I have a letter from a former student that I will read that proves not only the timeline, but also that these issues have still never been addressed. The issues are with the school staff members, including principals, vice principals, social workers, counselors, and teachers alike, up to the Board of Ed and the superintendent of schools. This message may come off strong, and I hope it does, because these issues have gone on for far too long. There are many issues happening at South Windsor schools that have been happening for years, and someone needs to address, acknowledge, and correct them. Many of us parents have reached out to the Board of Ed and Superintendent's office, only to be ignored and not allowed to speak with anyone past the secretary. Vice principals and assistant principals lie and hide things to make the school seem like it's not as bad as it really is, as if we weren't made aware by the students who are either involved or have videos circulating around. These serious issues are especially out of control at the high school, and actions need to be taken. Too many students that are only children have been traumatized and let down by the school. Corrective actions and changes to the existing policies need to be made. The South Windsor policies are very outdated and have no direct resolution. Many of the policies refer to other policies for what actions need to be taken, only to be pointed to the next policy, and none have a definitive outcome or end result. I personally spoke with the vice principal at South Windsor High School last school year after being made well aware of the drug use in the school by a family member whose child was involved in it. I made a report about the drug use, the group of kids supplying it, smoking and vaping in the bathrooms or in the basement. I gave details, and she said that she would address it at their next meeting. I never heard back. It is still currently happening daily at South Windsor High School. I have been told by numerous current students that the security officers are aware of the situation, and some of them know who the students are and where they are doing it, and they do not intervene and just allow it to happen. This is very sad that we cannot even count on the South Windsor officers at the schools to prevent this from happening. I have heard this from many times from different students. Your policy for reporting bullying. This is a very big topic. I was informed recently by Ms. Serrano the steps that need to be taken in order to officially file a report on bullying. First, a student needs to make a report. Then they need to sign an affidavit and submit a form. This form gives the school permission to disclose their personal information, the victim, to the bullier and to their parents with details. And only then can an official investigation happen. No student is going to tell on their bullier and be a snitch or a rat. Doing that will only make the situation grow worse, and more students will get involved, and this poor student's life will be even more traumatized. This policy needs to be changed. If a person is being bullied or harassed and has the courage to finally say something, but is told that that policy is the only way to go, they are not going to do it. Instead, they will try to deal with it, hide from it, act out in school or at home, or eventually go to a different school. This child is afraid already and is being bullied by another student. Different measures need to be taken, and the student should be protected by all means. Bullying should not be tolerated. I have been told personally by many former students and parents of current and former students that the Board of Ed Superintendent's office does not do anything. They pass everything off, and no one has ever gotten any positive results from them. I have also tried to contact the superintendent's office in the past, and myself could not get past the secretary. I would like to know who is supposed to be in charge of these school policies, rules, and staff members that is ready and willing to help and actually do their job in making South Windsor schools safe. It is a shame that parents have to get the judicial system, courts, and lawyers involved for our children who are innocent, and allowing other students to basically get away with their actions by a few days of out-of-school suspension, which does not affect or bother them at all. I have many other parents as well as students and former students who will also be joining me on this mission. Their stories are horrible. Their lives were scarred and traumatized. I will not stop until South Windsor stands up and prevents this from happening. The school system has failed many students many times, too many people and too many times. This is unacceptable. I will not let my children be treated this way. I hope you understand me as a mother and a person watching this happen right in front of me, and nobody taking this more serious and putting more effort into preventing it. My heart is with the students who have had to face this dreadful experience. This brings me, don't want to go there. I hear about the day-to-day drug use, violence, and weekly fights at the high school, which majority are recorded. These students get suspended for a few days and allowed back. Some even come back on their first day and get suspended again. They should by no means be allowed to continue at South Windsor schools. However, this is far from the case, which goes back to the South Windsor policies having no definitive end results. Everything comes down to a decision of the school staff, which varies day by day and student by student. These policies should end with consequences result, not a variable decision. All students should be treated equal, even if they are on a 504 or IEE plan. We will continue to reach out and seek help for our children. We are residents of South Windsor, and we deserve better. This is a letter from a former student. Hello, my name is Alton Etheridge, and I give Nicole Frost full permission to read this letter aloud on my behalf in front of the town council. I was a student of South Windsor Schools from 2006 to 2016.
Excuse me,
Counselor Fitzgerald?
Ms. Frost, I'm sorry. How many letters do you have from?
Just this one.
Just the one? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could read quick. Thank you.
During my time there, I experienced heavy and traumatic bullying, despite going to the office many times to report it, and even though having my parents getting involved, no resolution was ever found. These situations started roughly around 6th grade in 2012 at Timothy Edwards Middle School, while Kristen Hecht was the principal. At that time, minor resolve was found, and I was still getting physically harmed by older students on the school bus. I reported it, yet much to my detriment, it continued with no action taken until those children transitioned into high school. The remainder of my 2 years at Timothy Edwards consisted of staff bearing witness to very harmful things said to me, including a peer telling me to take my own life several times, to which nothing was done, except referring me to the office. At the time, the vice principal was Ellis Butson, who seemed to have an animosity towards me, and I had failing grades, which were the result of intensive bullying that was never properly handled. During these visits, there were countless times I sat in her office to be minimized, until the point of mental breakdowns where she would kick me out just to have me return and continue speaking down on me. She often minimized my struggles, once quoting that her 8-year-old children will never behave this way. Elise was very harmful to my emotional state, and she offered no solutions to my bullying and seemingly turned a blind eye. Each morning when I stepped foot into that school, I felt no motivation to do my work. With little encouragement from my teachers, I could not garner the mental strength to learn, knowing that the administration did not offer help to a bullied student. Looking back as a 23-year-old man, I believe Ellis Butchen should not have worked with children. Eventually, this migrated to the staff, with teachers like Donald Friedrich, the 8th grade Spanish teacher, who consistently battered me down, despite my proficiency and interest in the language. One day, he took my binder full of papers and flung it across the classroom of my peers in a full-fledged temper tantrum and made me clean the mess. My parents came in for a meeting, and Donald continued to keep this behavior with me. I had a 6th grade history teacher once tell me I was going to fail in life because I didn't turn in one homework assignment. When my parents brought this up at the parent-teacher conference, she denied saying such things, as the staff and teachers always did to cover their own tracks. Several times I sat before my parents to try and skew the narrative in their way and pull focus to my grades. My parents took the responsibility of uncovering the reason why professional teachers were mistreating their child, ignoring his feelings, and refusing to give him the support he needed to succeed. I was fortunate to have parents who advocate so strongly on my behalf, but not every student has this support. It was absolutely draining, devastating, and harmful to a young developing mind. I had to get a therapist during that time due to the stress and anxiety I was feeling from these experiences at the age of 12. From what I have read, it seems South Windsor schools are highly ranked in terms of education, but in my personal experience, they provide no justice in the social aspect to children who are being berated and harmed unless they have influential parents involved in funding of schools or PTO. I continued on to South Windsor High School until my parents opted to transfer me out at the end of 9th grade due to these situations.
Excuse me, Mrs. Frost, is the letter?
It's almost.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
I'm trying to skip most of it.
Yeah, I know. I wish we had a copy of the letter too, so that way. But
You don't have a copy of mine.
I think we got the point, though.
I think we only have
But I
some.
can
I
give
think
you
we got
one.
the point. May I?
Yes, Councilor Pendleton.
I'd just like to say thank you both for coming forward and also speaking on another person's behalf. This is the town council. We're not the Board of Ed. I just want to let you know, but thank you for your courage, and thank you for your endurance, and thank you for your family's strength. And I hope that you continue to go to the Board of Ed and speak to the Board of Ed. We have zero control over what they do. I just want you to know that. So the only thing that we control is their budget. That's it. But I absolutely applaud you for coming here. And being very courageous and being very brave. Thank you so much.
And I just want to be clear that everyone knows this was under the communications from Councilor Fitzgerald, so this was her portion of her report, just for clarity. Thank you. No other communications? Okay, moving on to item 10, reports from committees. Any committee reports?
Pension Committee met last week on Wednesday, and you know, barring all the numbers and everything else, we're doing very well in our pension, and we're funding it appropriately, and we get a gold star. We get a gold star from the actuary and from our pension person, because I asked that. You have many students out in the world. Do we get a gold star? He said yes, so we're good.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item 11. 11A, Councilor Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Motion to approve 11A1 through 11A5 as a first reading on the consent agenda.
Right. We have a motion, we have a second. All those, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Moving on to 11A6, Councilor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Motion to approve 11A6 through 11A20 as a first reading on the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to 11B1, Councilor Carey.
Motion to approve 11B1 through 11B12 as the second reading on the consent agenda.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on, we have 11C, miscellaneous, having none. Item 12, unfinished business, having none. And we have item 13A, which we'll pass on since we have not had our public hearing yet. So we'll move on to 13B. Councilor Balboni.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Resolution approving the transfer of $74,000 of capital non-reoccurring funds to cover fiber installation and equipment costs associated with the TRAX Communication Tower project. Whereas the TRAX Facility Tower project requires fiber to provide communication connectivity for our public safety agencies, and whereas the ARPA requirements allowed for fiber to pass the facility, it did not allow for connecting fiber to the building. And whereas by transferring a total of $74,000 for a capital non-recurring account to the TRAX Communication Tower project, Account number 444-803-00-00320. The project will be fully funded. And whereas the required public hearing was held on Monday, November 18th, 2024, now therefore be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby authorizes Town Manager Michael Maniscalco to transfer $74,000 from the capital non-recurring account to fund the fiber installation and equipment at the Trax Communication Tower project.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to 13C, Councilor Pendleton.
Resolution accepting the resignation of Damian Humphrey as a member of the Mass Transit and Highway Advisory Commission. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby accepts with regret the resignation of Damian Humphrey as a member of the Mass Transit and Highway Advisory Commission effective October 15, 2024. And be it further resolved that the South Windsor Town Council extends its thanks to Damian Humphrey for the time dedicated to serving the community by membership on the Mass Transit and Highway Advisory Commission.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. 13D, Councilor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A resolution accepting the resignation of Ms. Diane Beller as a member of the Patriotic Commission. Be resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby accepts with regret the resignation of Diane Beller as a member of the Patriotic Commission effective November 7th, 2024. Be it further resolved that the South Windsor Town Council extends its thanks to Diane for the time dedicated to serving the community by membership on the Patriotic Commission.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Councilor King? No? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay. 13E, Councilor Balboni.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Resolution approving the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget calendar. Be it resolved, South Windsor Town hereby approves the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget calendar as more fully described in Exhibit A.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion?
Yes, sorry.
Yes,
Sorry.
Councilor Pendleton.
May I ask our secretary, please? Ms. Senator, on May 5th, what is the deadline for our budget? Because May 5th, we normally give ourselves like a 2-week time frame in case we have to have any special meetings or anything. Do you know our deadline for the budget, that we have to have it adopted? We have May 5th here, but it's, I think, it May 21st?
22nd.
22nd. So we have time.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Councilor Carey, do you have a question?
I just wanted to validate that we're using the revised, sorry. I wanted to verify that we're using the revised draft budget calendar. There was a couple of dates changed. It was on your desk when you first got here. From the one that was in our packet. Okay, it was revised in conjunction with Mr. Maniscalco. The purpose was for what you brought up, Councilor Pendleton, to tighten things up a little bit to give us some room, because as you know, this is going to be a challenging budget year with the problems we have with the state legislature cutting our grant list.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor
Madam
say
Mayor?
aye. Yes.
Talking over here with Attorney Corella, we've noticed that March 15th is a Saturday. So the deadline for the Board of Ed to submit their budgets, do you want to move that to either Friday or a Monday, not a Saturday?
I'd like to make a friendly amendment to move March 15th to March 14th.
Well, that would be,
Friday.
oh, I think I know what the 15th, okay, I think the 15th is, because that's when they have to have
They
it.
have to have it by that date, and that's written in the charter, I believe, right?
Yes.
That's a charter date. That's just stating that that's when they have to have deadline for them to submit the budget, and the budget would normally be submitted before that. That's just showing it's a deadline.
Thank you, Council Pendleton.
Okay.
Sorry. Just like I asked about ours being the 21st.
All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Okay, 13F, Counselor Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Resolution approving refund batch number 9 for 15 refunds totaling $2,373.73. Be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby approves 15 refunds, the total of said refunds being $2,373.73, and as more fully described in Exhibit B.
We have a motion, we have a second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Okay. Item 14, passage of ordinance, having none. And since we're still way ahead of schedule, we'll take a, want to take a recess before the 8 o'clock public hearing? Okay, we have a consensus. We'll take a 15-minute recess until 8 o'clock of our public hearing. order, please. Calling the regular town council meeting back to order and suspending that regular town council meeting to call our public hearing. Ms. Centers, if you can read the public notice, please.
Oops. To be published in the Journal Enquirer, December 5th, 2024, legal ad, Town of South Windsor. Notice is hereby given that the South Windsor Town Council has set Monday, December 16th, 2024, at 8 p.m. in the council chambers of the South Windsor Town Hall, 1540 Sullivan Ave, South Windsor, Connecticut, as the time and place for a public hearing to receive citizen input on the potential purchase of open space located at 155 Griffin Road. Dated at South Windsor, Connecticut, this 3rd day of December, 2024, attested to by Catherine Senerth, Executive Assistant.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to come forward for the public hearing regarding the potential purchase of property located at 155 Griffin Road? Mr. Kennedy or Ms. Voderin?
Thank you, Mayor, Lieutenant Mayor, and all the council members. I'm Pat Bodwin, living at 34 Victor Lane, and I'm here to come before you and representing the Open Space Task Force. At the July 14, 2021 Open Space Task Force meeting, the 155 Griffin Road property was reviewed for desirability for town-owned land. The parcel is approximately 19 acres, abuts Rice Street Park. It has a total road frontage on Griffin Road of 1,585 feet. It includes a tree farm with soils being listed as prime farmland soils, about 50% of the total land area. The tree nursery area has not been harvested with overgrowth visible from Griffin Road. There is tree damage from past and present storms. Steep slopes are present around Dry Brook, which flows into a 1.5-acre shallow pond and continues through Rice Street Park. There are 2 tobacco sheds, 3 outbuildings from outward appearances appeared in unusable condition. There are 2 unoccupied houses. Their condition has yet to be determined. Because of the property abuts Rice Street Park and offers the potential for extending recreation, making this parcel highly desirable. Taking all of the above into consideration, therefore, the Open Space Task Force unanimously voted to recommend acquisition of this property by the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boderin. Mr. Kennedy?
Joseph Kennedy, Jr., 81 Allison Drive. I'm also the chair of the Agricultural Commission. We support the purchase of 155 Griffin Road. Anytime you can grow a park is a good day. We thank the town manager, we thank the town council, the Open Space Task Force, the Agricultural Commission, Planning and Zoning, Inland Wetlands, Park and Recreation, and the thousands and thousands of people who support land preservation. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward at this time during this public hearing for the potential purchase of 155 Griffin Road? Anyone else like to come forward?
Me?
Going 3 times. Councilor Pendleton, if you'd like to read Mr. Paterno's letter.
Thank you. Dear Mayor Delnicki and all town council members, I apologize for not being able to attend tonight's meeting. However, I would like to share my support for the potential purchase of open space/farmland located at 155 Griffin Road. This is an important piece of property that has been reviewed and examined over the last few years by both the Agricultural Commission under the leadership of Joseph Kennedy, and the Open Space Task Force under the leadership of Patricia Botteren. Both of these groups have favorable recommendations for preserving this valuable farmland as open space in South Windsor. Further, its proximity to Rice Street Park opens up many possibilities in terms of future park expansion. I would urge you to support the approval of the purchase and preserve this land for the town. I would also request that my statement of support be read into the record during the public hearing tonight at 8 p.m. Sincerely, Andrew Paterna.
Thank you for that. I'll just check one more time. Anyone like to come forward regarding this public hearing? Okay. At this time, I will close the public hearing, and we will take a straw poll. This is a straw poll, not a scientific poll. For those who are in favor of the potential purchase of the property located at 155 Griffin Road, please raise your hand if you are in favor. Okay. Okay, that's close enough. I know. And is there anyone opposed? Is there anyone opposed? There we go. Okay, thank you very much. The public hearing is now closed, and we will now resume the regular meeting. Moving on to item 13A, Councilor Boganski.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Resolution authorizing Town Manager Michael Maniscalco to sign and execute any and all documents pertaining to the proposed acquisition of property identified as 155 Griffin Road. Whereas the town is interested in purchasing a property located at 155 Griffin Road, and whereas a Town Council public hearing was held on December 2nd, 2024, and whereas on December 2nd, 2024, the Town Council referred said property to the South Windsor Planning and Zoning Commission for a report pursuant to Section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes, and whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission gave a favorable report at their December 10th, 2024 meeting, now therefore be it resolved that the South Windsor Town Council hereby authorizes Town Manager Michael Maniscalco to sign and execute the purchase and sale agreement and any and all documents necessary to carry out such purchase. Furthermore, be it resolved that the Town Council approves the purchase of 155 Griffin Road for $1,200,000 and safety compliance property improvements for $217,000 to come from open space funds for a total approved amount of $1,417,000.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Councilor Boganski?
Just a question. We just had it is the 16th. Should we make a friendly amendment to correct the date of the public hearing to December 16th?
Yes.
Okay, we have a friendly amendment, changing that to 16. Okay, all those in favor of the amended resolution, changing this December 16th, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We already took a vote.
That was on the amendment, right?
Yeah, that's the amendment.
Right.
Now we have discussion.
Okay, discussion.
Oh.
Discussion.
Councilor Curie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to thank.
Hold on, quiet, please. Thank you.
I wanted to thank the Open Space Task Force and the Agricultural Commission. They have worked on this property for over 3 years to get this, and worked hard to make sure that this could happen. So I really appreciate all of your time and diligence in making this happen for the town. Thank you very much.
Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay. Moving on to item 15. Public input on any matter. Public input for any matter over which the council has jurisdiction shall not exceed 30 minutes. When recognized by the mayor, the speaker shall approach the lectern, give their name and address. Speakers shall avoid personal attacks or impugning or alleging an improper motive to any person. The speakers may address the council on any item over which the council has jurisdiction. The speakers shall limit their speaking time to 5 minutes. Ms. Sanders, do you have the list for the sign-up? Okay, Mr. Hodge?
Good evening. My name's David Hodge. I live at 83 Muriel Drive. And I've been here a few times, and I'm here tonight to speak about the referendum the Board of Ed passed and will be bringing to you in the near future. I've been here for a number of referendums regarding schools and fields in the past, over the 28 years I've been here in town. And the first 6 or 8 I went to always resulted in the referendum being put forward so that the members of the community could vote and make a decision on whether they wanted to move forward with it. Sometimes we decided I was on one, sometimes I lost. But I felt good about the fact that the residents of town got to vote. Last year was the first time that I came to the council, majority this council, and spoke, and the game was canceled. It never went to referendum. It never went to the constituents. I don't understand why that would happen. Either that or you don't trust us to make a decision good enough for the town, and that's disappointing. And I hope it doesn't happen again this time. This is what happens when you get old and don't wear glasses. So the main reason last time that I believe it wasn't put forward that I heard was that there wasn't enough time to let the residents know about the plan and to bring it forward in March. So it wasn't brought forward at all. So there's plenty of time. People all know about this plan for the high school, for the road, for the pickleball courts, for the tennis courts, for the field. Everybody in town knows about it. So that's no longer a reason not to move it forward in March. And at this point, I don't care why it wasn't moved forward in November. I don't care whose fault it is, okay? It wasn't moved forward last November either. And the longer we wait, the more it costs. And more kids go through the schools without having these improvements, which doesn't make sense to me. The other thing I heard, and I unfortunately did not come last month because, again, it wasn't on the agenda, so I didn't know it was going to be discussed. But from what I understand, there were 2 things discussed. One was that there was a comment about if the people cared about the fields, that they would be here. And apparently, there are a number of people that are willing to be here, and not only be here, but wait so that they could speak. And the other thing I heard was that a referendum in March may not give everybody a chance to vote. Well, I go back to if they care, like you said about, somebody said about us showing up, they'll vote in March. If they care one way or the other, they will vote. And we have absenteeism ballots now, I believe, that anybody can get and vote, whether they're away for the winter or whether they're still here. So that's no reason not to move it forward in March. The only reason not move it forward in March is if the council's worried that it'll pass. Because to me, there's no other reason not to move it forward in March, because it just raises the price waiting to try to do it in November, and everybody will get a chance to vote if they care enough to vote in March. Thank you.
Hyson Petgrave. Hyson Petgrave.
Hi, Town Council members. My name is Kyson Petgrave, and I live at 28 Simca Drive, and I'm a freshman at South Windsor High School. I am reaching out to discuss the urgent need for a lighted turf field, new tennis court, and pickleball courts, and an additional access road to South Windsor High School in our community. While it might seem like a primary demand comes from a football team, I want to emphasize that many other sports and community members would greatly benefit from these facilities. During the last council meeting that I was at, it was noticed that there weren't enough people to support this innovative. However, I believe that we now can demonstrate widespread community interest. People across South Windsor recognize that investing in these facilities is just about it. Let me go back. Facilities is not just about this one sport. It's about providing opportunities for a variety of activities, including pickleball, field hockey, and more. As an athlete who has been involved in sports my whole entire life, I see firsthand how our current facilities, particularly the freshman football field, are inadequate and potentially hazardous. The existing fields have numerous holes, rough patches that could lead to injuries. By investing in a new turf field, we can create a safer environment for athletes in South Windsor. The benefits of a lighted turf field extend beyond safety. With improved facilities, our athletes will have more opportunities to play under the lights, which could significantly increase attendance at games. For instance, my father, who has coached me my entire life, often works late, making it difficult for him to attend games. If we had a lit turf field, we could schedule games later in the day, allowing more families to come out and support their teams. Currently, I've witnessed the lack of support for our varsity teams, primarily because games are scheduled at times that are inconvenient for many. A later start time could enhance school spirit and community engagement, encouraging more fans to attend and cheer on our athletes, including football, field hockey, soccer, cheer, lacrosse, track and field, and many other sports. While I chose to stay at South Windsor High School because of my friends, several of my peers opt for other schools. For example, one of my friends transferred to East Catholic, knowing he would have a better exposure playing football at a school with a lighted turf field. This highlights the importance of the facilities in attracting and retaining student athletes. Additionally, the inclusion of pickleball courts would meet the growing interest in this sport, allowing enthusiasts to enjoy evening games and further engaging our community. In conclusion, I urge the town council to consider the investment in the South Windsor High School improvement project, not just for the football team, but for all of the South Windsor. I also ask the town council to send this to the referendum in March 2024, as to not propose this project another entire year. This innovative will have a lasting positive impact on our community, fostering sportsmanship, safety. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. I look forward to discussing this proposal further. Kyson Petgrave.
Samantha Petgrave.
Good evening, Samantha Petgrave, 28 Simca Drive. I've stood up here and I've spoken several times. I've tried to emulate positivity each time, but today I'm going to speak from my heart. In the last town council meeting, I heard a lot of words that held a lot of weight, words like transparency and political moves. These are some of the words that I have comments on. For the sake of transparency, is it not a fact that the town council acts and makes decisions that are all politically motivated? Can you say, Councilor Lewis, that in the name of transparency, that your discussion item regarding special referendums without a doubt had nothing to do with your stance on the high school improvement project? That it was strictly a general inquiry and a discussion? Because per the last meeting, and just from watching it, it didn't sound that way to me. Deputy Mayor Siracusa asked the town attorney at the last town council meeting if the council could have sent the project to referendum in November instead of just voting it down and pushing it off, and you were informed by, or he was informed by the town attorney that yes, the council could have done that. And I quote, he then said, "I wish I would have asked this before because then we could have potentially been working with a contractor right now." That sounds a lot like the town council made some uneducated decisions regarding the project and didn't have the wherewithal to ask the right questions at the right time. Mr. Mahan was then directed to reach out to the Board of Education and ask them why they couldn't bring the project forward before the November referendum. The truth is, in the name of transparency, that the Board of Education didn't need to because the town council could have. It is the true definition of passing the buck. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I would like to believe that our town council operates with a strong moral compass. And I do believe that everyone would agree that it's imperative that the council do the right thing for the right reason, stop wasting our time and our money, and send this to referendum in March of '24. To the council as a whole, I have been a strong advocate of all athletics and have been advocating for a lit turf field among other athletic improvements for the better part of 10 years. And there are many others that have been fighting this fight long before me. Our stellar academics are dimmed by our lack of athletic facilities, and if we don't act now, South Windsor will lose its attraction for many. I have very little faith at this point that South Windsor will make the necessary improvements because, as the council pointed out in the last meeting, every decision is politically motivated. I still have hope, and that's why I'm standing here speaking today. Here's the dilemma facing many families. Our kids get to high school. As parents, we believe our child or children have real athletic talent and the potential to get an athletic collegiate scholarship. Whether we're right or wrong doesn't matter. As parents, we have to decide what to do. Stay in South Windsor and send our kids to private school, which incurs an additional expense of upwards of $45,000 plus, on top of the taxes that we pay to South Windsor, or we can uproot our entire family and life and move to a town that offers the best of both academics and athletics. A town that has the appropriate athletic facilities to allow our student athletes to succeed. Or, option 3, stay in South Windsor, tell our student athletes to find a new dream, or hope for a miracle. You force our hand. As soon as the opportunity presents itself, my family and I will be moving to a town that cares about the kids and their needs, a town that has what my kids deserve. Trust me when I say that I am not the only one, and there are several families that have already moved on. The kids in this town are what make it so desirable. Without them and their efforts, both on and off the field or court, we are just another town with high taxes and nothing to show for it. I have a photo, which I can't show, but I took a photo of one of the JV football games. It was being played in the dark, and I can show you at the end if you'd like, but at the end of the day, the refs had to call the game short. It was a one-point game, not that it matters, but the fact that the game was cut short by the refs because it was unsafe to continue is not acceptable. One of my children played his first year of football at South Windsor High School this year. Their games were played on a practice field due to lack of field space, while all of our away games were played on a turf field with lights. South Windsor had no bleachers, no scoreboard, no concessions, because it is in fact a practice field. Our opposing town spectators were watching that game from the community center parking lot. Is that acceptable? No, it's never been acceptable. And I voted for you, hoping that we would get the change that our town needs. I did not vote for you to have my voice taken away from me. And it really does feel very oppressive. This isn't about saving money, it never has been. It's about spending our money responsibly. And if you're all insistent on making decisions based solely on politics and a budget, it would be wise to remember that you are elected officials. Officials elected by the people, and people that want change. Make no mistake that if we don't start to see the change that this town so desperately needs, that doesn't fare well for any of the 9 of you that sit up there today. I know that what I'm saying is likely falling on deaf ears, and I do feel that your decision, your minds are made up before you walk through the door, because like I said, I've stood up here a dozen times at least. And I just want to say that at the end of the day, actions speak much louder than words. We can say that we support the project. We can say that, there's a way to do it and that it has to be done the way that you want it done. But at the end of the day, we need to see some action. Thank you for your time.
Okay, moving on, Wendy Landman-Glatt.
Hi, my name is Wendy Landman-Glatt, and I live at 77 Woodland Drive. You've heard a student talk about the athletic needs from an athlete's point of view. You've heard a parent talk about what they want for their children. I'm here to talk about not just what they need and ask you to go to referendum, but what our town needs based on information that's available. I hope you're aware that currently our K-5 growth rate is twice that of the next fastest growing district, which is Simsbury, which has facilities like this. Our K-12 growth rate is about 6 times higher than the next fastest growing district, which is also Simsbury, which again has facilities. Additionally, we are looking at, over the next 10 years, adding 200 single-family units and 250 multifamily units, which means increased enrollment in our schools. Based on the information that I found, not hard looking, on our district website, the pre-K to 5 enrollment is not going to peak until 26-27, while middle school enrollment isn't going to peak until 2029-2030. And our high school enrollment is not going to peak until 2033-34 academic year. Keep that in mind. We are a town that is known in this area for the quality of our education and for the things that we can offer our students. But we must also keep in mind that athletics and extracurricular activities are a key part of that. There is multiple research that shows that extracurricular activities provide a way for reinforcing lessons learned in the classroom. It offers students an opportunity to apply skills in real-world contexts and are considered part of a well-rounded education. Additionally, research recently, and conducted on a college level as well, has shown that participation in extracurricular activities increases students' sense of engagement and attachment to their school and decreasing the likelihood of school failure, dropping out. It increases attendance as well, because there are policies that show in order to participate in activities, you need to be in school. These other indicators of success include, again, consistent attendance. We know that as a state, we are looking at increased chronic absenteeism due to COVID, since COVID, academic achievement, and our goals of having students go on beyond high school education. And we know extracurricular participation is positively associated with all of these. Without the facilities and the increased enrollment, we're going to run into a situation where students will not have the opportunity to participate in these extracurricular activities due to injury, due to lack of space. We have teams growing every day. We have additional teams being added in order to address the needs and to include as many students as possible. This town deserves the opportunity to go and hear this for referendum, to make the decisions about what we want for our schools and our students. This has to go forward. Otherwise, we run the risk of a town becoming one that was known for the quality of their education and was known for the quality of their programming. It's up to you to make sure that doesn't happen. Thank you.
It's in here. Temperature, it's a little chilly in here. Just check the temperature, please. Thank you.
Okay. All I have is a first name, Cassie at 115 Mohegan Trail. Is it the three of you all speaking at the same time, or you
Yeah.
just, so you each are going to speak?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a combined speech. Hello, my name is Cassie Polanski, and my address is 115 Mohegan Trail.
Hi, my name is Genesis, and my address is 241 Deming Street.
Hi, my name is Lavanya, and my address is 1507 Twin Circle Drive. And first of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you today. We are the South Windsor High School girls tennis team captains and are here to convey a message from our entire team.
We would really appreciate it if you would support the referendum of the construction of the new tennis courts. They are certainly needed as the existing courts are very old. As athletes, it is critical for us to have a safe and high-quality space to practice and compete. Unfortunately, the existing courts are cracked, uneven, and difficult to play on, which increases the risk of injury. On top of that, in the past, players from other teams have complained about the courts causing injuries. During matches, we even had to deal with issues such as broken nets and faded lines, which detracts from the experience of playing for our team and hosting events for the visiting teams.
In addition, these new courts are not only beneficial for us, but for the entire South Windsor community. We are sure that many residents who enjoy playing tennis also find it tiring that we have to continue to play on these outdated courts rather than the high-quality courts other towns have. Some residents even go to neighboring towns and play since they have better courts and lights. Other towns and teams embody a pride that our community is unable to have due to the persisting condition we find our courts in. Thus, we also request that you consider adding lights to the plan, as the rest of the tennis community only gets to play on the courts after both the high school tennis teams finish, and it gets quite dark by then.
And getting new tennis courts will serve a very large population of tennis players in our town. And for these reasons, we are asking the council to consider our request for the construction of new tennis courts with lights. We are confident that it will make a positive impact on our high school team, the younger players in our town, and the community as a whole. We truly appreciate your time and attention to this matter, and we are hopeful for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Jerry McHill and Akhil at 6 Farmbrook Lane.
I don't live there, but I will say I'm Mukil in Leven. I live at 19 French Lane. So again, thank you for letting us speak to you about this proposal. I agree with the girls' tennis team. This is essential for us as a boys' tennis team. And you know, I want to say I'm the co-captain of the tennis team, and I've been a varsity member for the past 3 years. In that time, we accomplished back-to-back CCC championships, which is pretty good, I hope. But you know, we wanted to highlight what the team success is, but we also want to highlight what the courts are used for. Not only is it for our practices and also the rec department as well, but we as a boys tennis team for the past 4 years have done something really special. So I really want to get you guys to talk about it.
Hello, my name is Akil. I'm in 118 Gilbert Lane. So adding on to what he was just talking about, we've used this court not just for practices and matches, but recently my brother started around 5 years ago a charity tennis tournament. So we've consistently got around like thousands of dollars towards charities around Connecticut, and we've seen that when we're running this, we've seen a lot of issues with like the lack of facilities available and how it's kind of losing a sense of its own appeal. And because like we only have 6 courts and you can only do so much people fitting into such time frames. And we've also seen like many other lack of like line calls. There have been a lot of issues and arguments because the court simply cannot be like accommodate all these people and they're playing. So yeah.
Hello, my name is Jerry Zhu. I live at 6 Farmbrook Lane. Honored to be able to speak in front of you guys today. Again, just to kind of clarify what Akil said here, myself, Akil and Mukil, we've been running this tournament for the past 3 years, picking off where his brother left off. Over the past 4 years, we've raised over $4,000 for local charities This includes the the Connecticut Children's Hospital, and various other local charities that some of them were started by high schoolers that we know. Currently, again, the courts, we face two main issues, especially when it comes to us running this charity tournament. One of them is the access to our courts is very difficult. From the parking lot all the way down to the courts, it's a huge hill, and being able to host big events like this is super difficult. In addition, the courts that we have right now just will not be viable in the future when we want to run this tournament as it gets larger. We've had over 200 people over the past 4 years come and play at our tournament, and this includes hundreds from other counties who come to play, high schoolers and adults who look forward to our tournament every year. With that being said, I think I speak for everybody in this room when we say that we know this is a long-term investment. And this is an investment that many of us won't be able to partake in directly. Just like with the South Windsor Charity Open, we know that the fruits of good fortune will take a long time to bear. Again, many of us won't be here to reap the benefits of this proposal. With that being said, we still urge you to vote in favor of this proposal to make South Windsor a place that we can take pride in. Thank you.
Okay. Gary Burnham.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gary Burnham, 117 Cliffwood Drive, formerly 167 Ayers Road, and formerly 9 Windshire Drive in South Windsor. A quick intro about myself. I grew up here in South Windsor, currently a member of the South Windsor High School Hall of Fame, Clemson University's Athletic Hall of Fame, and the Philadelphia Phillies Hall of Fame as well. Thank you. I speak as a father, a coach, on behalf of all the people you see behind me. My grandfather started the Legion program here in South Windsor back in the late 70s. I was also part of the renovation at South Windsor High School in the early 90s. And when they did that, they cut the pool out of the budget. And that was a major, major deal for us as South Windsor High School athletes. And the town had a lot of discussion about, the pool being cut out of the budget. But they did go through with it. And the high school saw major improvements, which were super beneficial to the growing population in South Windsor, to the families, to the students. And I benefited from it my senior year at South Windsor High School. It took a long time to get lights at the Rotary baseball field here in South Windsor. It took several attempts, several asks, a ton of no's, and people to keep persevering to get the lights. It happened. I just believe it's our time. It's our time to compete with average. You need a Friday night game. That's why there's a book, Friday Night Lights, Permian High School in Texas. That's why they wrote a book. It's our time. It's our time to be on the forefront. It's our time, okay? It's our time to recruit the families that are thinking about moving in to get their kid an awesome education and a kick-ass sports program. It's our time, okay? It's our time. We're one of the only towns without lights in the entire state of Connecticut, despite having incredibly accomplished athletes come through this town, myself included. Chris Clark, NHL 12 years. Tom Roy, highest draft pick ever out of South Windsor, 3rd round of Portland Trailblazers. We've had a ton of really good athletes. Timmy Sanquist, probably the best football player to ever play here, Syracuse captain. Okay? I think you went to high school with him, right, Mr. Balboni? Absolutely. The Salvatores, 14 years in the AHL, holds the record that the Wolfpack League plays in. His daughter's right here behind me. okay? It's our time, South Windsor, and I have faith in you guys. I'm not here to say you guys aren't going to get it done. I'm just here to support the hell out of all of us as a community because we can do this. We have everything we need in South Windsor to get this done because we got people that care and we got money. And with that, and we got the man labor to do it. I'll grab a damn shovel and do it out there myself. Ask anybody. They know what I'm like. Thank you.
Mr. Mahan?
All right, well, I guess I got to follow that, but okay. I'll try. Eric Mahan, 50 Henry Road, South Windsor. Obviously, thank you for the opportunity to yet again come and speak before you. The plan's before you. I'm not going to talk about all of the facts and everything in the plan because it's been out there. It's a good plan. The only thing probably wrong with the plan is it's not free. But everything else that plan is trying to do, all good things. And I'm just going to more, like some others have done, kind of just talk from the passion side of things because I've lived this over the last 15 years or so with my sons, and I don't know how many of these meetings I've been to over that time. Probably some before we came along, but I know just in that time there have been a bunch. And I've gone through it. I've seen it from all sides. As a parent, seeing a disappointed wife and other parents because they can't make it to the game. They can't get off work, or they have to make that decision. Do I take a day off work? Maybe I can't get off of work so that I can come and see this game. The kids, probably want to see them there, but they have to make that choice because of the time when the games are. I've been a coach, a volunteer, a board member. I've gone through it negotiating with other programs and at Parks and Rec meetings, trying to figure out who's going to use the field space when, what's going to happen when there's weather and issues like that, and having to call at the last minute or make decisions. Are we going to cancel practice? Are we going to practice in a parking lot? Or are we going to practice in the island at South Windsor? Yeah, it has grass, but it's basically, as you all know, used for parking. So we have to wrestle and make those decisions. I've lived it as an announcer in arguably, I'm sure I might get some argument on this, but arguably the biggest game of football in this town's history, and I welcomed all of the fans to East Hartford High for the playoff game. I've also done homecomings where it's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and again, hopefully parents have been there to see their kid in the homecoming court, or the fans have been there, but it's a tough ask for a lot of parents and a lot of kids who might work after school and could better make it on a Friday night. So I've lived all of this. And at the same time, I've been to these meetings and I've heard all of the different reasons. It's a want and not a need. But as the previous speaker just said, virtually every town in this state has a lighted field. They've found a way. Towns big, towns small, rural, cities, Hartford Public, they've all found a way to get this done. So apparently they've decided that it is something that they need and not just want. So maybe that's something that we need to recognize as well, just like they have. I've heard, well, we didn't have this when I was in high school. Well, I'm sure if I went back to my high school right now, there would be a lot of things there that weren't there when I was there 30 years ago. Wi-Fi, other things. Things change. I'll date myself, Things change over the years, and things become necessary and become a need. I've seen a lot of different proposals, and I've seen it continually kind of kick down the road, back and forth, and from both sides of this room. One time it's this side of the room that wants it, and the other side doesn't want it. And then the next time, it's this side of the room that wants it, and this side doesn't. And back and forth, and round, and it keeps going back and forth, and all of the different reasons that we've tried to explain, and nothing gets done. But I hear the same thing with all of this, the same message every time. I support the kids, but I support the fields, but I support lights, but all of these different reasons. I think it's time that we get off of our butts and find a way to do something and get this done for the kids.
Okay, well, Mr. Mahan was the last speaker to sign up, and we have gone over our 30 minutes for public input. Councilor Pendleton? Are we looking to extend public input? Like to take a motion? All those in favor, say aye. To extend public input for, do we want to have to make a motion? So I'm asking to make a motion. Anybody would make a motion if we want to extend the public input? Okay, seeing none?
Madam Mayor, just because unfortunately the deputy mayor isn't here to see the amount of people that are out here right now. We've been in meetings much longer than this. It's 8:45. I would suggest that we extend it till 9 p.m. I make a motion that we extend this public hearing, this public input piece until 9 p.m. That way anybody that's still here that does want to speak to us, hopefully.
If you have anything I would suggest if you have anything different to say.
Perhaps.
I mean, we see.
Yes, well,
who's
that's my motion. My motion is to extend it till 9 p.m. For anybody else that would like to speak, whether it's the same or different, that's my motion.
I second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Roll call, please.
Counselor Buganski? Counselor Lewis? Counselor Balboni? No. Counselor Carey?
No.
Mayor Delnicki?
No.
Counselor King?
Yes.
Counselor Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Counselor Pendleton? Yes. All right, 5 noes, 3 yeses.
Motion fails. Moving on to item 16. Excuse me?
I do. No, I do. Just one thing. Yep.
You guys, all the students who came out tonight, thank you.
Moving on to item 16, communications from the council. Councilor King.
Yeah, just real quick. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do appreciate everybody that came out tonight to speak. But before you go, I do want to say there's 2 special shout outs. One is to the Bobcat Prowl. And if there's anybody that's here that does that, I really appreciate. I love seeing the updates that you guys put out there about what our schools are doing. The second thing is I do want to send a shout out. Being a Philadelphia Eagles fan with a record of 12-2, I do want to shout out the football team who beat Enfield. The record may not have shown it, but y'all still went and did y'all thing. Y'all beat Enfield, the Route 5 Challenge. Maybe if there was a trophy, I would love to hold it just for a moment. But shout out to you guys for doing that too. Thank you.
Any other communications from the council?
Balboni, you got somewhere to be?
Motion to adjourn?
Quite a bit. Second, you got somewhere to be, huh?
All those in favor, excuse me. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.